I am the first great-grandchild of Grandma Doris, who has today reached 100 years. She is the longest living member of not only her immediate family, but also of the entire extended family. I am happy to begin the celebration of Grandma Doris's 100th birthday by recounting some of the highlights of her life. Some of us in our large extended family call her Grandma. Some call her Mom, some call her Doris, and still others call her Gigi-ma. For the sake of simplicity, for this remembrance, she will be called either Grandma Doris or Doris. Doris Elizabeth Norton Ekstrom was born on September 29, 1912. She was the firstborn girl, and eventually one of the middle children in a family of 6. She had 2 older brothers, a not much younger sister, and 2 younger brothers. Her father was a lawyer, and her mother was a teacher, both of which are careers still continued in our extended family today. Doris married Bert Ekstrom on April 19, 1941. From her marriage were born 3 children, a girl, Elizabeth, another girl, Margaret, and a son, Bertil William Jr. From them, she has 12 grandchildren and 20 great-grandchildren. She also has several informal foster children from Pakistan and Japan. Her descendants live or have lived internationally, and among the milieu of countries of residence are Japan, Germany, Pakistan, Turkey, England, Switzerland, Saudi Arabia, and Belgium. Grandma Doris's life has spanned an era. When she was born, houses were just beginning to use electricity, and cars were becoming popular. She has seen the country at war more than 4 times in her lifetime, and she has seen 18 presidents. She has witnessed tremendous social and scientific change. My brother and my cousins, also great-grandchildren, will expand on some of these. I give you now the celebration of the life of Doris.
Because the neighborhood where Doris lived was safe and the neighbors all related as one big family, the children felt free to play wherever they wanted and to visit as well. One especially close neighboring family, the Smiths, had a 2-acre plot of land with a huge house and an almost equally large carriage house. The carriage house made an excellent hiding place. Another neighboring family, the House, had 2 girls, Fran and Dorothy, who were good friends with Doris and her sister Margie. The previous summer, Fran had attended a camp and made friends with a boy there. The 2 wrote letters to each other, and Fran kept hers tagged up. The neighborhood kids that Grandma Doris grew up with were good kids. However, there were also adventurous and sometimes impulsive kids who played tricks and got into trouble from time to time. When Doris was in 2nd grade, the boys had a favorite trick they played on girls. The desks in schools of those times were wooden desks with holes in the upper right-hand corners. Into those holes went ink bottles because the writing was done with pens that needed to be filled with ink, not the ballpoint pens we have. Children stood up to answer questions in class. This is different from what we do too. The boys thought it was hilarious to put Doris's long curls quietly under the ink bottle in a hole in the desk behind her. Of course, when she stood up to answer a question, the ink bottle would tumble out of the hole and the ink would spill all over. The boys thought Doris would get blamed, but I think the long-suffering teachers knew who the perpetrators were. A favorite trick on Halloween involved streetcars. These are semi-open cars that run on tracks and at that time were used instead of buses. What the kids would do was place hollow fizzy caps on the tracks just before the streetcar went over those tracks. The wheels of the streetcar would squash the caps, producing a loud popping noise that no doubt startled the passengers on the streetcar and delighted the pranksters who put them there. Another more dangerous trick was not exactly done by Doris, but by Brother Jerry, Sister Margie, and 2 neighborhood boys. These creative rascals were trying to find an excuse to skip school. Remember that the neighborhood did not have many houses as most neighborhoods do today? Near the school was an open grassy meadow, away from most of the houses. The boys and Marge decided that if they set the meadow on fire and then called the fire department, the school would close and they would not have to go that day. So they set a fire in the meadow. The fire department did come and put it out, but not before it had burned much longer and more than the young arsonist had thought it would. It almost burned down a small house. No one at school knew who done it, but Doris's mother found out, and the four remembered their punishments for a long time.
Hi, I'm Neha. This is Noor, the youngest great-grandchild. We love you, Great-Grandma.
When Bert, Doris's husband, was at Shattuck Military Academy, he learned, among other things, to play the trumpet beautifully. He would play the trumpet in the basement, and one of the songs he always played was a special song for Doris. It was called Let Me Call You Sweetheart. I am Noor, and I am the youngest great-grandchild. Let us call you sweetheart, 'cause we love you true. Let us hear you whisper that you love us too. Let the love shine always from your eyes so blue. Let us call you sweetheart, for we all love you.
It was World War II. Bert wore his army uniform. The couple now, Mr. and Mrs. Bertle, William Extra, went on a honeymoon to the Wisconsin Dells. After the honeymoon, they left for Missouri, where Bert was stationed. This began 4 years of travel with the military, followed by a brief break from the military. Then 7 more years of military life, including time spent in Japan. Bert then left the military and worked for IBM. The family settled in Rochester, Minnesota. By then, 3 children had been born. Doris named her daughters after the little princess of England, Elizabeth and Margaret. Elizabeth and Margaret were also names from her mother's family. The last child, a son, was named Bertle William Ekstrom Jr. after his father, but everyone called him Bill. Elizabeth is my grandmother, and Doris is my great-grandmother. I am Neha, and I love you, Great-Grandma. I am Neha, and I love you, Great-Grandma.